how to trigger an avoidant to realize your worth. Have you ever loved someone who seemed allergic to emotional closeness? You showed up, gave your best, opened your heart, and they pulled away like it was too much. You're left wondering, was I too needy? Did I push too hard? Or worse, am I just not enough? If that person was avoidantly attached, let me tell you something powerful. It wasn't you. It was the lens they see love through. But here's the twist. You can trigger an avoidant to realize your worth, but not by chasing them, explaining yourself, or trying to prove your love. No, you do it by flipping the script completely. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. So stay with me, because the moment you stop trying to win them, you start winning yourself. And ironically, that's when the avoidant starts waking up. To trigger an avoidant to realize your worth, you first have to understand what you're actually dealing with. Avoidantly attached people crave connection on a deep human level, just like anyone else. But the moment that connection begins to feel real, they panic. Closeness feels dangerous, suffocating even. Vulnerability equals risk. So they do what they've learned to do since childhood. They distance themselves. They go cold. They withdraw. It's not about you. It's about how intimacy feels like a loss of control. And here's where most people get trapped. They chase. They try to reassure the avoidant, pour on more love, send more texts, plan more dates, and the avoidant pulls even further back. So the first step is this: stop chasing, not out of punishment, but out of power. Disengaging from an avoidant is not about playing games. It's about reclaiming your energy and value. When you stop making yourself available for emotional breadcrumbs, you break the pattern. Avoidants are used to people trying harder when they pull away. But when you do the opposite, when you gracefully step back and stop explaining yourself, they notice. Maybe not immediately, maybe not with fireworks, but you create a psychological disruption. They expected you to come running. You didn't. That moment plants a seed. Wait, did I just lose something good? Let that discomfort grow. You're not punishing them. You're simply creating space for them to actually feel your absence. And trust me, your absence is often more powerful than your presence. One of the most effective ways to make an avoidant realize your worth is to become unpredictably calm. Not cold, not rude, but peaceful in your own world. Avoidants are allergic to pressure and emotional intensity, but they're intrigued by independence. The moment they feel like you have your own life, your own rhythm, and you're not anxiously waiting for them to pick you, their perception shifts. Now you're not a threat to their freedom. You're a mystery they can't quite figure out. So go live, go grow. Let them see you smiling, evolving, showing up in the world in your full light. Not to provoke jealousy, but to remind them you were always more than enough. They just weren't seeing clearly through the fog of their fear. Avoidants don't respond to emotional essays. If you've ever tried to explain why you're a good partner, why they should appreciate you, or how much you care, it probably fell flat. Why? Because you were speaking a language they weren't ready to hear. You don't make someone see your worth by spelling it out. You show it through your energy, through your boundaries, through what you no longer tolerate. If they cancel last minute, you don't rage or beg. You simply stop making time for them. If they go quiet for days, you don't chase closure. You mirror the distance. Silence becomes your message. And over time, your lack of reaction becomes the loudest truth they've ever heard. Here's the fascinating part. Once you shift your energy, the dynamic starts to flip. At first, they might feel relieved. Ah, space again, their nervous system says. But give it time. That silence, that emotional distance they once craved, it becomes uncomfortable when it's no longer their choice. Avoidants are comfortable when they create space, but not when you do. Eventually, they'll peek back into your life. A random text, a story reply, a just thinking about you message. This is your moment of power, not revenge. Because now they're not just reaching out from interest, they're reaching out because your absence made them question their assumptions. They're starting to feel what it's like to lose someone who didn't beg to stay. But here's where many people blow it. The avoidant finally reaches out. And what do? You emotionally vomit. You unleash all the built-up anger, longing, and confusion. You say too much, too soon, and the avoidant retreats again. Why? Because now they're reminded of the intensity they ran from. So instead, stay grounded. Respond, but don't rush. Speak, but don't overshare. Be warm, but not desperate. You're not auditioning anymore. If they want access to you, let them show consistency, not just curiosity. They need to feel that you're not waiting to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. The most magnetic thing you can do to trigger an avoidant into realizing your worth is to truly believe it yourself. Not fake confidence, not social media performance. Real, grounded, unshakable worth. You know what you offer. You know how you love. And if someone couldn't hold it, it's not because you were too much. It's because they were too limited. Own that. Walk in that. Speak to that in your actions. Let the avoidant feel your emotional maturity, not your emotional chaos. You stop being just a person they dated. You become the one that made them question everything. Avoidants often circle back, weeks, months, sometimes even years later. Not because they've changed overnight, but because distance gave them clarity. They remember your softness, your support, your calm strength. But here's the question you must ask yourself. Do you still want them? Because realizing your worth doesn't just mean making them miss you. It means you see them clearly now too. You see the ways they withheld, the emotional games, the fear-driven silence. So when they return, don't ask if they've missed you. Ask if they're ready to meet you differently this time. Because if not, you're not interested in repeating a lesson. You're interested in receiving love that matches your growth. So if you've ever loved an avoidant and felt like you were invisible in the end, let this be your wake-up call. Your worth was never the issue. Your glow didn't go unnoticed. It just scared someone who wasn't ready to feel deeply. But you don't need to chase to be seen. You don't need to prove to be kept. And you don't need to shrink to be loved. You trigger an avoidant to realize your worth by becoming the one person who didn't beg for it, who didn't plead, who didn't stay small. You became the lesson. You became the one who walked away with dignity. And trust me, when the noise fades, they'll remember the silence you left behind. Let that speak louder than any apology they never gave. If this message hit home, it's because deep down, you already knew your worth. You just needed a reminder. And maybe this video was it. Remember, you're not here to beg for love. You're here to be loved, to stand tall in your truth, even when someone else can't meet you there. If they come back, let it be because they finally saw the real you, not because you kept knocking on a locked door. And if they don't, you didn't lose anything. You dodged what wasn't ready. If this helped shift your mindset, give it a like and share it with someone who needs this reminder today.